Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is George Schlacek. What you've just witnessed, that is me riding down the hill from where we live right now. Camera pointed down to make a point. It took me some practice before I was able to ride this at all because of how steep it is. I went on a little 15-minute ride just so I could share this with you. Here's some more.
Of course, the entire ride isn't that rough. See, here I actually pick up some speed and it's relatively smooth, don't you think? Well, our part of Puerto Vallarta is rough and it's kind of like an obstacle course. Now, pay close attention as you see me riding on the edge. Of course, there are sidewalks too, but are they any better? Well, let's find out. You be the judge. Now here's a special treat. And onto the super smooth highway we go. Now, here's not just rough cobblestone, but I'm also climbing. It's a hill. Riding up here, that'd be something to brag about, I tell you. But so tell me, would you bring your own bicycle here for a temporary stay? We did not, and I think I'm glad we didn't.
So even if I wanted to ride up this hill, I couldn't do it with the gearing that I have. So I gotta push the bike. Here I am. Mission accomplished. Yeah, that was a rough little bike ride. You're probably thinking this must be the absolute worst. And to be honest with you, I couldn't really tell you, but I know that this is a good example of what you have to expect when you're hoping to ride your bike in Puerto Vallarta. I still use the bike to get around. Here's some more footage of me riding back from the beach on a Sunday morning when there's not so much traffic, and it's not bad. One way. This street really isn't very bad. It's kind of one of the better ones.
Even when traffic is relatively calm, like on a Sunday morning, you are expected to yield to the cars at all times. And sometimes that could delay you more than you expect. Some streets actually have traffic lights, and it's a blessing.
So guys, the rest of this is going to be off camera, but I can see the bridge where I have to turn, and the rest of the ride, well, it's so-so, you know. There's really bumpy spots and there's not so bad spots. There isn't really any super good here. It's all rough. It's so rough here. One way we found to get to the Malecon is via the market on Isla Cuale. but you have to be really careful here because there's so many pedestrians and we often just push our bikes.
So let's ask Barbara for her opinion on cycling in Puerto Vallarta. Barbara, was it what you expected?
Cycling in Puerto Vallarta? Not really what I expected. I mean, cracked pavement and some parts are gravel. I mean, that's the way things are when you're traveling on a bicycle, right? But here we have cobblestone, and when the tires hit the crevices, it's more than just a clunk. It's kind of like all your shoulders, your neck. Like if you're going a little bit too fast, well, I feel it right up to the back of my neck, and it's the most uncomfortable thing. With all that being said, there's the bike lane. I love the bike lane, except it's a little bit tiny. It only has room for one cyclist going one direction, and it is for only one direction. It's meant to come the opposite way into Puerto Vallarta. So if we're going out of Puerto Vallarta to follow the bike lane, what we have are people coming in the opposite direction. Like, let's just say it's a bit of a mess, and you're riding along the traffic. You get a lot of the exhaust from the old buses and the vehicles, so get a good breath of that, the exhaust. I mean, I'm not complaining. The best thing here is riding alongside the ocean and seeing the birds in the air and taking in all the festivities going around you, but also paying attention, needful attention, to where you're going on the bike for other pedestrians and for that cobblestone.
That bike lane along the main road is probably not really complete yet, and it seems like there's going to be one in each direction on either side of that big road. But the design makes you wonder.
So this Puerto Vallarta for bicycles, well, there's a big problem here. The first problem is cobblestone roads. They're very hard to cycle on, they're very rough, they're kind of poorly maintained. Now here's the main drag, basically. I mean, I don't know if you can see beside me there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are at least 6 lanes of traffic, and just to cross that alone, pedestrians and cyclists alike, is very difficult. Now I'm going back into the actual bike lane, and there's an obstacle coming up ahead. I'll show you. Just a few seconds earlier, there were a bunch of people standing in the bike lane lining up for the bus. I mean, this stuff happens, of course, but I'm now on the sidewalk. There's no more bike lane, it just ends. But the trail that I was trying to get to is very close.
However, there are some places we discovered that are quite encouraging.
That's okay. What I'm on right now is so far probably the best bike path that I've seen. Hola. Police officer on a motorcycle. Okay, I'm alongside another river. I don't know what that one is called. I'll have to look it up for you. But this is a beautiful path.
But they never last quite that long.
The bike lane is collapsed. Yeah, whatever you want to call it, bike path, bike lane. It's half of it's in the river over there. But up to here,
it was relatively good. So I'm gonna see now what it is like beyond this crossing. I know the river ultimately doesn't quite go where I need to go, but maybe there is a connection somewhere that I can work my way over to where I actually need to go. Yeah, it doesn't look that promising up front there, and I have to cross this. Hey, look at this. Pretty busy. Well, let's summarize cycling in Puerto Vallarta, starting off with the bad. Number 1, the cobblestone roads, they're punishment for you and your bike. Number 2, traffic is heavy almost anywhere. I've experienced Mexico like 15 years ago or so, and it seems like there are a lot more people driving cars these days and less using active transportation like bicycles or walking or, horse and buggy. And drivers are less considerate towards them. It's really, really dangerous trying to go straight here because cars are turning. They don't give me the right of way. Not even consideration. And I think it's just as bad here as any place in North America that I've experienced. Number 4, and I think this needs to be said, it appears to be a lack of traffic enforcement here. Reckless driving is rampant. I see it everywhere, even in residential areas. And there's drinking and driving. I don't have any statistics on that, but I've seen people drink beer on their lunch breaks, even those that seem to be drivers. To end on a positive note, the bicycle gives us unlimited freedom and access to places we would otherwise never get to see. It allows us to travel at our own pace and at a very low cost. Now, it has to be said, though, that bicycles are relatively expensive here, so probably not worth buying unless you're here for a while, like a couple of months or so. So maybe now you know if cycling in Puerto Vallarta is worth it for you. If you find the information valuable, click the like button. And if you're feeling really generous, you can always give a donation via Super Thanks, which is never expected, but it's always a very nice surprise, and I thank you for considering it. This video is part of a playlist, and I'll see you in the next video. All the best.